Hi, guys, and welcome to the Ball Agenda Reveal Show. I'm joined by two legends today. A little bit of a change of crew for this episode. On my left, I have Chinedu Asinugo. How are you doing today, sir?
Yeah, we good. We good. We ready to talk some football today. Let's get it.
And on my right, I have Emeka Wani.
Hey guys, yeah, glad to be back. It's been a minute.
The crew's been away for a while, working on our new studio. So still constructing, but we're on the way.
Nice
How you guys doing? How's the week? How was the international break been for you guys so far?
For me, yeah, it's been good. It's been nice to recharge. It was my birthday a few days ago.
Happy birthday to you.
All March babies
Happy
here.
Birthday to when's yours?
Where's my singing or when was my birthday?
When's your birthday, guys?
Sorry, my birthday was like 2-3 weeks ago as well. So
happy birthday to
Thank
you.
you.
Also, you know what it is. So that means we're doing a giveaway this month for the Ball Agenda Reveal Show.
March giveaway.
A March giveaway.
March madness.
We should do it though.
Yeah.
For our most engaged fans.
Yeah, let's do it.
Comment below what you want to give away.
Exactly. we might give away MacBook Pro. We won't say too much, but we might do that. You know? The sponsorship money coming in. But let's get into the show. The first thing is this morning we're met with some troubling news of the passing of Claude Caligari, longtime AFTV, formerly Arsenal Fan TV contributor. I think he also I know he also had his own YouTube channel where he also did some stuff with other people. And just one of the legends of the whole new wave in the last few years of fans really being big parts of football culture. So I don't know any thoughts you guys had on just that news and surrounding things that surrounded the news. I'll start with Mecca.
Yeah, it was quite troubling. Of course, we all watched AFTV for the banter, and it was over the years. It's been great seeing Claude and the rest of the guys continuously go back and forth. But yeah, the main thing I picked from it was just about mental health and how we don't know what people are going through, especially during this last year. Like, we're March babies, and we said, like, literally we've had 2 COVID birthdays, so people are going through a lot, and especially Claude has been going through a lot, and it's been quite publicized. So to still see people go at him, and after getting kicked off AFTV, and people are still attacking him, doing his own thing on his own channel, and you could tell he's just been really going through it. And my prayers up to his family, and yeah, just for people to just continue to be kind, man. Like, I know we all like to laugh. Football Twitter can be a bit toxic, but I know we like to laugh and get other people's teams, but let's just try and use a bit of sense and have a bit of compassion, as hard as it is when it comes to football, but have a bit of compassion when just dealing with people themselves, maybe not their teams, but people themselves, because it's not an easy time for anyone.
Yeah, I was not expecting it at all. Like, I woke up, the first thing, probably because of Twitter's algorithm, the first thing I saw was a picture of Troops and Claude. And I was so confused, and then I saw it. It was just out of nowhere. So that was also the shocking part of it. Chinedu, what did you think? Oh yeah, and I also add that just in terms of this new wave of fans, like, he was one of the most passionate fans. Like, beyond the banter, like, you could just tell these guys bled Arsenal, go to the home games, go to the away games, wore Arsenal, like, wore their hearts on their sleeves. There was the banter, but there was also the real pain when Arsenal was going through it. And just seeing that kind of fandom was kind of inspiring to fans about what it actually means to really love and support your club. So that was one thing that I actually really, really appreciated him and the most of the AFTV crew for bringing. But Chinedu, what did you think about the whole thing?
I mean, I think you both have hit the nail right on the head with your comments, and deepest condolences to the Claude family. But I think it kind of brings me back to a point that was made much earlier, I think last year or something, was about the influence of AFTV and kind of what kind of impact they have on the club itself. And I kind of feel 2 ways about that. First of all, obviously, I think that sometimes when AFTV can be a bit negative and shed a negative light on the club and Arsenal as a whole. But then at the end of the day, kind of like what Emeka said, we all have to be kind when we're interacting online, number one. And number two, it's just their opinion. So at the end of the day, I think if you disagree with their opinion, you're always free to unsubscribe or unfollow. And so I think it was very interesting because a lot of people started turning to blame the AFTV crew and for kicking him off the show in the first place. But at the end of the day, their fans through and they're always going to, I guess, do what they feel is right for them. So you can always unfollow, unsubscribe. No need to leave those harsh comments, but rest in peace, Claude.
Yeah, now actually, so you guys are not ready for this, but I'm curious to know, what did you think about, and sorry for the curveball, AFTV kicking him off and just how that whole situation was handled?
Yeah, I mean, I understand it because they become quite corporate, and obviously you could tell Claude wasn't being malicious when he used the term against Asians. So I can tell, and now AFC is very corporate and they got a lot of sponsors and it's a money-making machine. Like, it's something they had to do. But the way Robbie has been criticized for the way he handled that, in terms of, like, he actually interviewed him that day after it was said. So even Robbie was aware of it being said and still interviewed him that day. Then when the backlash came, they kind of just threw him to the curb. And I feel like what I do feel should have happened was, definitely they should have helped him get mental health, what mental health help he needed. Because again, he was just a cab driver, and Claude was just a cab driver. Didn't really have that much money. AFTV is a money-making machine. So after they had kind of thrown him to the curb like that, and after they used when he had meltdowns, when he could tell he was going a bit crazy on air, they used those scenes to make money and those videos to make money. So after they threw him to the curb and they knew he was going through what he was going through, I definitely feel they could have kind of supported him a bit more behind the scenes and continue to actually help him. And sure, I mean, they're still friends at the end of the day, if they actually were behind the scenes. So you should still kind of help your friend, even though you're not working with him in a professional setting. I feel AFTV definitely should have helped Claude post AFTV, because even till today, there are Claude videos online that are getting millions of views and making AFTV money. So I don't feel like just because he made a mistake, you just throw him away and you don't help him behind the scenes. So I think that should have been done.
Shane, do I get to add?
No, nothing else to add. Spot on.
All right, perfect. And rest in peace to Claude, and deepest condolences to his family. And we just hope that football Twitter, we can keep the fun, the banter, but hopefully we just are a bit more thoughtful. And actually, I think it's interesting because this last week, Henry posted his tweet about him leaving social media because there's really no repercussions for people saying things and just hiding behind the keyboards. So I'm glad that stances like that are being taken by powerful people in the football world and raising more awareness for things like that, because it really is a plague and something that, if not social media, I know the Premier League is doing whatever and footballing bodies are doing what they can, but it needs to be an effort with footballing bodies, the actual social media platforms, and just everyone personally to hold people accountable and kick that stuff out. So that's what I add there.
Yeah. Awesome.
So moving on to our next segment, we're greeted this week with the news that Sergio Kun Aguero will be leaving Manchester City at the end of the season. I think that didn't come as a surprise to many people, given his game time this season and kind of how I think City said that they would figure it out and leave it up to him if he wanted to extend by a year or something, but it seemed like that wasn't going to happen. And they've figured out a system where they're not as reliant on having him or a number 9 in their team. So we kind of saw that coming. He joins the long list of people who kind of were the foundation of this City dominance over the last 8 to 10 years. Kompany, Toure, Silva, and now Aguero. So there's a little bit of the transition-ish that you think about when you see Aguero moving out. But that brings a very interesting topic of conversation now. He's obviously one of the greatest number 9s, one of the greatest foreign imports to the Premier League, but also one of the greatest number 9s just in general in football history, in Premier League history. And credit to him for that. But with all of the arguments that we've been seeing on social media, it brings up a great topic of discussion of who actually are the best number nines that we've seen in the Premier League. And Premier League has seen a lot of great number nines. So I'll kick it to Chinedu for us to see who you put in your top 5. Let's have a little discussion about that.
Well, thank you very much for the claw and for starting me off.
You're most welcome.
So I just want to say that the evil that Sergio Aguero has done is enough.
to David De Gea's near post.
David De Gea's near post. We'll miss him very sorely. Again, very dearly.
Especially at Old Trafford, man.
Aguero didn't even used to aim, just shoot it there, anywhere near post.
But yeah, I think you make a great point that he is definitely one of the best number nines we've ever been privileged to watch. And it's sad that we have to compare, but I think that's why we are going with a top 5, right? If you don't mind, could someone else go first? And then...
Oh yeah, absolutely. Emeka, let's go with you first.
Okay. Yeah, so I've been going back and forth with this. There's so many different things to consider, from ability to longevity to versatility.
I think that's actually really good. Like, let's actually talk about what are the things that we put in our individual lists.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's similar for the three of us, but you individually, what are the things that you prioritized when you looked at your list?
For me, so it's a bit of a mixture of a few things. So I'll say for me, longevity, numbers, and sometimes just raw ability, even if it wasn't done for as long. And I
know who you're talking about when it comes to that.
So some people just like took my breath away, even though it was just for a few years. And yeah, some was just, my number 1 was just the all-round best, everything, goals, assists, time of dominance, stats, everything. So yeah, it's going to be very highly debated, but yeah, I'm gonna go with these 5. So okay. Number 5 for me is Alan Shearer, top goal scorer in Premier League history, won a Premier League title at Blackburn, scored quite a lot of goals, even though it wasn't in the best teams. So, I mean, I wouldn't hold him not winning more against him, but he did choose to go to Newcastle instead of Man United. So that was his choice. But the fact that he still scored so many goals.
Bad choice, because he would. The way people look at Shearer now would have been completely different if he went to United, because those numbers would have been way more.
Exactly. So, and I'll just say also a bit biased because I watched him not necessarily at his prime in Blackburn. So, but I still give him a lot of credit because he's the top scorer at 200 and I believe 60 goals, and still has a lot of people have a long way to go to catch him. So fair play to him. Number 4, again, this is, okay, before people go crazy, right? Some people might be better than the people I mentioned, but this is Premier League only. So same players, like for me, for instance, like Van Nistelrooy, for me, he's better than a few people I mentioned on this list. But in the Premier League, he only won 1 Premier League title. He won 2 Golden Boots, but he only won 1 Premier League title, and he didn't dominate the league enough for me in terms of awards. And he even came up with the quote.
He couldn't though.
No, exactly. No, so exactly.
It was not about Van Nistelrooy. It was about who he was up against for the period he was in Premier League.
I think it was also but Ferguson also said it. There was in the Man United team where there were times where Van Nistelrooy he was close to winning the Golden Boot. Then Ferguson dropped him the game before the end because he didn't contribute to a title. So he was scoring goals and he was 1 goal off or not, but he didn't win us enough titles at the time, unfortunately. And the team was a bit of a transition with him, but. I digress. But so number 4 for me.
No, it's good to know. It's good to know.
Number 4 for me would be Luis Suarez. He didn't do it for a crazy amount of time, but Premier League alone, that year in Liverpool, where after he came back from the suspension, he scored 70. He scored 69 Premier League goals, but he was just sensational that year. He broke the league record in terms of goals scored in the season before Salah broke that again. He was sensational that year, goaling week in, week out, scoring hat tricks.
And Salah was playing in his super team.
Yeah, exactly.
Suarez was playing Skrtel was his defender.
That team wasn't that great. He wasn't playing under a great manager. He was just sensational. Goals, assists, skills, taking your breath away, scoring from all angles. So this one again, I have to balance it out because if it's just on goals alone, then we might as well just put the top 5, right? Or top 8.
No, I totally
get he as a striker for me, he just had incredible ability, more ability than quite a lot of strikers that have more goals than he does. So for me, Luis Suarez is number 3. Then number 4, sorry. Then number 3 for me, again, it's tough, man. It's like Bergkamp, it's Cantona. It's just like there's too many. But number 3, I'll have to go Kun Aguero. Goals to game ratio, 181 goals in 271 games. I believe how many titles? Five titles.
Yeah.
4 titles. 4 titles rather. Sorry, 4 titles. He scored that goal against QPR to win the league, to win their first title. Until today, I still can't watch that goal as a United fan. I can't watch the replay.
That match was scripted.
I literally can't watch the replay. Like, honest to God, like I always mute it or I switch off the TV anytime I see it. I can't watch it. And I think that moment alone in Premier League history, like he has to be there. Plus, he's been one of the best players of all time.
That's the foundation of that moment. Is the foundation of every good thing that's happened to Man City.
Exactly. He's an absolute gunman. And yeah, just a quality player. But like again, if I was doing like an all-round thing, would I put him above Van Nistelrooy? No, because Aguero outside Premier League, he hasn't really done much. International level, Champions League level, no. But we're talking Premier League, so I'm focusing Premier League alone. So number 2 for me is my favorite player of all time, the GOAT, Mr. Wayne Rooney. Has to be. Debates could be debated whether he was a pure 9 or not, but the fact is he did play there at times, played second striker. When he first came to United, he was a second striker. No, number 10 was a second striker. We played 4-4-2. Van Nistelrooy, the Rooney supporting striker, got his goals, started young, from 16 years old. Not many players on this list scored any goals at 16. But when you just see his all-round contributions, goals, assists, 208 Premier League goals, 103 assists.
Except the one who won the World Cup at 18.
Sorry?
Except the one who won the World Cup at 18. When you said not many.
That's good, but unfortunately, World Cup is not Premier League, so I can't count that, can I? Yeah. So yeah, Rooney for me, number 2. Just longevity, ability, numbers, their trophies has to be 208 Premier League goals, 103 Premier League assists. Has to be there. And number 1, I feel this would be general consensus.
Sorry, before you move on, sorry, Fayams, no.
Any comments? Yeah, any comments? Sorry.
Oh, do you want me to go now? No, I want you to finish.
Okay, you're being polite.
Yeah, you have the floor.
Number 1 has to be Igwe.
You don't have to say much.
I hate calling him that as a United fan. That guy terrorized my childhood. And just had everything: pace, power, skill, grace, stats. He was just completely dominant in that league. He just changed the English game to me. Like the way strikers play now, you can see a lot of strikers now like
swag,
trying to play all that pretty left, cutting off the left and the finesse. He was just a great player. He was a great player. Terrorized Man United a lot of times, and the numbers were there. Invincible season, the only player on the list to be invincible. Constantly getting 20 double figures assists, Premier League assists, and that's Kevin De Bruyne. That's what Kevin De Bruyne does, but like he did that as a striker, playing kind of coming off the left in a 4-4-2. Yeah.
So you might need to say the name.
You don't need to. We all know.
No.
Yeah,
because for our listeners who are not too conversant,
the legend, Thierry Igwe Henry has to be number 1 in the Premier League.
Ice cold when he actually had goals to back it up. The real ice cold.
I won't bring up the finals, Shah. It's not Premier League. I won't bring up the finals, but the finals record. But that's my idea.
I'll go next. My number 5. I just loved this guy. I think he didn't do it for too long, but he had his fair share of controversy in actions and interviews. But you watched him and you just knew what was up. Like some of the goals he scored, what he meant to the club he played for, and titles that they won, I have to just give another Frenchman, Mr. Eric Cantona, the fifth place spot. One of just my favorite players to watch. And if not for all the off-field stuff, I think he would have we would have seen much more in terms of numbers, in terms of impact. But even with what he did, he was just this maestro enigma that when he played, you just knew, and he carried the team. So, and everyone who ever watched Cantona says that. So I had to give Cantona that spot. My fourth spot, Alan Shearer, numbers, all types of goals, did it for Blackburn, and the title is very, very important. Just recently, the record with Sutton and him just got broken by Kane and Son, but that stood for 20-something years. You have that. You have doing it in Newcastle. You have the numbers, 260 goals, and doing it also for England. Shearer was basically when English people think about their old school striker, Shearer is probably the exact mold, build, and ability, and he was all of those things. So he's definitely on my first spot. My third spot is someone that might cause a bit of, and I actually haven't responded to Mecca's number 2 spot, but my third spot, someone that might cause a bit of a stare, is young Harry Kane. In a short amount of time, this man is 27 goals off third spot in terms of most goals in the Premier League. He's done that in 6 seasons, and the season isn't even over. And he also has 33 assists as well to his name. So we're talking the complete striker, left foot, right foot, header. Harry Kane is 27.
Trophy.
And he's single-handedly almost won things for Spurs. So we're talking Champions League final, second place in Premier League. Things will happen soon. But even without that, that should tell you something. Like, he's playing the team that hasn't won anything and he's still pulling up those numbers. Kane is ridiculous. Kane, 2 golden boots, always in and around the top goal scorers list. Now adding assists to his game. It's just and even when he lost pace, with the help of his great manager, reinvented his game to still be one of the most dangerous strikers in the world. I have to just give it to Harry Kane. And longevity, because we thought everyone said Kane was a one-hit wonder, 1 season wonder, a 2 season wonder, a 3 season wonder, until he forced people to understand that he was that guy. So I have to give it to him. I didn't even like Kane before because I used to be an Arsenal fan, and I would never say this a few years ago, but I have to just give it to Kane. Second place, I have to give it to Luis Suarez, El Pistolero. This is probably besides my number 1, so that's why he's number 2, but one of my favorite players, the second favorite player I've ever watched in the Premier League. He didn't just have goals. Those seasons at Liverpool, especially the suspension one that you mentioned, Suarez could score. He could score from anywhere. He did score from anywhere. He would score from halfway. He would score from. He scored the goal that he was like, I bust my own head. He was even so confused at how he scored it. Yeah. So 4 goals in the game, 3 goals. Punish Norwich. They can't sleep when they hear Suarez's name. So Suarez was scoring from everywhere. It wasn't even just goals he scored. It was goals he didn't score. Because I remember when they beat Arsenal 5-1, there was a corner that got played in and he just flicked the ball up from outside the box and just volleyed it and he hit the bar. I was like, if that went in, that would be one of the greatest goals ever. And it didn't. People forget about it. But he was just doing things like that every game.
And that Liverpool team had no business being almost winning the league with all them Ali Sissoko. Then it wasn't
Skirtle.
It wasn't a great team at all. So
this man that was the only season that people thought Sturridge was a really good player. If I'm being very honest, and I like Sturridge. I think injuries have been responsible for him not really realizing his full potential. But Suarez made everyone in that attack look so good. I think Allen was even playing that season. So Suarez, he didn't do it for too long. Like you said, 69 goals. But to me, it's the goals to game. Is what he did off the ball. Is the edge also.
Mm-hmm. Huh? The wow factor.
Exactly, the edge, the controversy. He just had everything. And I love that when players aren't just that's probably my thing with Kane. Kane just gets the job done. He's really good. He does it on the pitch. I love when players have a little bit of something else. that makes you enjoy them, like their personality. And Suarez brought everything. You were tuning in to watch Liverpool just to watch Suarez. There was no other reason.
He also brought the racism.
I think so. I don't even know if this is a hot take, but I think there are things that happen in South America, like the way they talk, that just makes things. I think it's a cultural thing in South America. Because from Cavani's thing, I think there's just some educational thing that they have in South America that doesn't necessarily map over well to one English, but just how they communicate. And I don't think Suarez is a malicious guy. So
I think that context was a bit different. He was trying to be malicious. Cavani wasn't. But don't let's dive in.
But I don't hate Suarez. I hate some of the things he has done. Some things that kind of messed up. But I think it's all part of like those eclectic superstars that we really like. I think that's the edge that makes him so good. The fact that you never know where you're going to get in a match. He might score 5 goals, or he might get sent off for biting a player, or he might miss 6 games and then come back and break the record for goals in less games than anyone else. That's what Suarez gave you. Yeah. And my top spot, what are you going to say?
No, I was going to say that means Balotelli will be up there for you. Yeah.
If he had the numbers, Balotelli for like 1 or 2 seasons was one of those people, but he let the other side of it get the best of him. And my top spot, I don't need to say. And if anyone has a different top spot, then that's where I really think we need to have the conversation. But swag, everything. Take a free kick, score. The referee asked him to take the free kick again. They're arguing. He said, "Don't worry." Puts it down, scores again. Looks at the ref. Is that enough for you? That is legendary. Like, I don't think there's any player in the world who has ever done that. So like that, just the way he looked, the gloves, the shaved head, the pace, scoring from anywhere, assisting, carrying the team, going invincible, 4 golden boots. And I saw a graphic where in all of Europe, I think it was like 5 seasons out of 6 where he had the most goals and assists in all of Europe. So this man was just dominating Europe. You have to give it to him. So yeah, that's my top 5. Chinedu.
Okay, I'm going to try and go now. I'll try and make it quick. You guys brought up Suarez, who wasn't on my list originally, but remembering what Suarez did, although very short, I think I'm just going to give him an honorable shout out. So Suarez is.
Oh, sorry. Let me cut you real quick. My honorable shout out is Didier Drogba. I'm very sad that I couldn't put him in, and I really wanted to. But Drogba for 2-3 seasons from 2004 to about maybe like, okay, let's say even to like 2010, Drogba was incredible. The goal he scored against Liverpool where he chested ball down and just whacked in the arena. Drogba just scored some goals that I was like, this guy is unplayable. Back to goal, probably the best striker Premier League has ever seen. And he was instrumental to the dominance Chelsea had. So I have to just give Drogba an honorable shout out. And Drogba was a lot better than people give him credit for technically, just because of how strong he was. Drogba was a fantastic player. But yeah, give him an honorable shout out there. Cheers, sorry about that.
No, you good, bro. For Drogba, I recognize he was decent, like, no. He was a good player. But at the same time, like compared to the people that I feel like we're mentioning, I don't think he stands a chance of making it to the top 5, or even top 6. But each man to his own. As an African player, though, Drogba was, he's up there, him at all. But yeah, okay. So Suarez, honorable, like 5.5, I guess. My number 5, Rooney, just because, like kind of what we talked about, he wasn't always an out-and-out 9, but the numbers speak for themselves. He's an all-round player as well. Oh, wait. First of all, my criteria for judging was like, first of all, in terms of like priority, technical ability, then longevity, then numbers for like individual awards, and then trophies, like general. So that's my judge. And then number 4, based on that, was Shearer, because the numbers speak for themselves. Longevity as well, kind of. And I don't exactly, like, you need a lot of technical ability to be like a proper poacher, or proper finisher. But for me, I'm not very excited by that style of football. So that's why he's number 4 for me. My number 3 is someone that hasn't been mentioned yet. His name is Robin Van Persie. Very, 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 very technically, as a number 9, his technical ability was off the charts. he didn't do it for so long because towards the end of his United career, got plagued by injuries as well. But even when he was at Arsenal for 8 years, he kept on putting up the numbers. He didn't get the trophies because at the end of the day, he's playing for an Arsenal team that isn't getting trophies at the time. But that's why he made the move. And as soon as he makes the move, he wins trophies, So I think RVP for me is my number 3. Number 2.
I love that pick.
Thank you. No, RVP, if you watch RVP, bro, you know that there are so few people that can do what he does in terms of finishing. My number 2 is Kun, just because numbers, longevity, trophies, I guess, because we're talking specifically about the Premier League and technical ability. I think he hits all those things. And I think when he's done and retired, that's when we will appreciate the numbers he has put up over the years. We've been very fortunate to watch someone like him play. And the number 1, obviously, is Thierry. So really quick, really sweet.
Awesome. Yeah.
Anything to fight about?
I think my only thing that I always say this, and I would have loved for Simi to be here. I should have told him to try to come through. When we talk strikers, and we're talking about best number 9s, and we're talking about people who score goals, I don't think, and this is just my perspective, you're free to disagree, you can say someone is in this elite conversation if they haven't won a golden boot of any kind in their career once. There's no striker you hear me cape for that hasn't had 1 golden boot to their name in any kind of competition. Please, how can that be?
I disagree. I disagree with that just because, for instance, that means you could say, so Kevin Phillips has won a golden boot, yeah?
You have to have won to your name, even if
so I'm saying Kevin Phillips has won a golden
league competition.
Would you rather someone that scores 30 in 1 year and then 10, 15 for the rest of their career, or 7, 10 for the rest of their career, or someone that gets you 15, 20 every single season, plus 15, 20 assists every single season?
I get that point, but I'm saying 1. If you have, we're talking longevity, you played for 20 years, didn't win 1 golden boot for your country in a small tournament, in a big tournament for your club, in a European Cup, in a FA, you didn't win 1 golden boot?
No, but do you remember the debate you just made for Van Nistelrooy about...
Van Nistelrooy has won a golden boot.
No. I'm saying it wasn't a function of him specifically, but it was a function of who he was playing alongside, playing with, the competition. You look at people in the Ronaldo Messi era that have been doing amazing things, right? But because they're in the shadow of Ronaldo and Messi, they can't ever break out of that, bang average, whatever. Look at people that could have won the Ballon d'Or over the years. My point to this is, if I'm playing in a league where I'm constantly going against the likes of Thierry Henry and he's banging 30 goals, then where am I getting my golden boot from?
Van Nistelrooy found a way to do it.
I don't even think it's that. I think it's a function of...
For me, if you can get those 20, 25 goals every season, it doesn't matter if you're winning that golden boot or not.
Especially if that's not your sole focus. A lot of those guys, that's their focus. Like Van Nistelrooy was saying, all he did after every game was to see if Henry had scored. That was his focus. But others, their job is actually to get you 20 goals and 15 assists. And if you can do that every single year and you can end up being one of the top scorers in history, then you can't tell me because you haven't won 1 golden boot, which was never your job anyway. Your job was to do both, and you can do both at a very, very high level. I don't think you can take that away from someone, because if that was the case, he could have, if that was his focus, he could have got 30, then not focused on assisting as much.
1 golden boot.
I don't think that's a prerequisite at all.
We didn't talk about Anelka, but Anelka is a Premier League golden boot. Everybody hates Giroud.
Anelka did that for 1 season.
But he has a golden boot. That's what I'm saying. Giroud. Everybody hates.
So Anelka getting a golden boot in 1 season is better than someone that has done.
No, I'm saying if anybody wants to talk to me and say, "Oh, Anelka was so great, he never reached his full potential," I'll be like, "Oh, okay, at least Anelka. Let's talk Anelka has a golden boot. At least for 1 season, he was the best." Rooney. Think about it. Giroud, that everybody hates, 1 golden boot from Montpellier that was just promoted that season. Won the Europa League golden boots, has 1 golden boots. Giroud, that everybody hates. How can you not have 1 golden boot? And we're talking about longevity, and we're talking about numbers for your whole career.
So that season that he won the golden boot, the season he won the golden boot, who had more goals and assists between him and Rooney that season?
I'm not talking about taking 1 season. I'm saying if we look at your whole career, how can you not point to
I'm looking at the whole career.
All the people you called, Kun, Henry, Suarez, Shearer, Kane. You have to have a golden boot.
I disagree. On. If you're
definitely disagree as
getting
well.
numbers every season, I don't think,
Yeah.
especially if that's not your focus, because that was never his focus. His focus was to do both. So if those guys could do both as well at a high level,
Henry's focus was to do both, and he won 4 golden boots.
That's why Henry is number 1.
Fair.
Exactly.
I'll give you guys that. That's all I have to say on that. Now, switching gears, and that's my argument whenever we hear this elite strikers and we hear that name, but that's my argument. Switching gears to our last segment of the day, looking forward to the quarterfinals of the Champions League. We finally got the draws, and there's some exciting games in there, and there are also some duds in there. But let's start with PSG Bayern. Some news came in. Robert Lewandowski is out for the next 4 weeks after, I think, tearing ligaments in his knee. So he'll likely miss both legs. I don't know what's up with Neymar, but
he's back.
Neymar's back. And what do we think?
His sister's birthday.
Her birthday's not happening this year. What do we think of the PSG Bayern matchup?
Well, I could go. I definitely think news, of Levy being injured changes the tie completely, because not only, is that like a really, really big blow for Bayern, but now PSG is licking their lips, right? They're going in. Neymar is back as well, or looks like he's going to be back. And now they're going in with more confidence, saying we can beat these guys and we can actually be on the front for the entire game. So I think before this Levy injury, I was always tipping Bayern. I backed Bayern to actually go back to back. But on the basis of this now, I think PSG will get the dub against Bayern. I think Poch is going to, especially when he has his superstars back. Hopefully, I don't know what the case is with Di Maria as well, but I think he played recently. And if he's back as well, then they kind of have a very, very strong team going into that game. And sadly, I haven't seen enough from. Bayern's backup striker right now is Choupo-Moting. So unless they change the system, or unless Muller comes in to do that.
They're probably going to Gnabry or Muller.
Yeah, I expect Muller, and then Gnabry is starting again, which is very encouraging. So they have a very exciting.
And Gnabry for France is 15 goals in 19 games.
Yeah, they have a very exciting back behind the striker, Sani, Gnabry, Coman.
Gnabry can even play up top.
Yeah, that's why I think he'll play up top.
I expect them to see Muller. I expect Muller there. I'll be honest. For me, it makes more sense to put Muller there to kind of sometimes play back to go and then have your runners in behind. But
I think we actually even saw that against Atletico Madrid in the second game, where they didn't really have much to play for and they played a weakened side. Muller played up top and they didn't lose. So I think they can still be solid and they have a good enough squad to tweak the system a little bit. Emeka, what do you think?
Yeah, it's a close one, man. Like you said, before Lewandowski got injured, I was definitely going to go clear Bayern, but I'm still going to go Bayern. Just it's a really tight one, but I would go for it just because Bayern are still they might not have the most outstanding individuals like an Mbappe or Neymar, but Bayern are such a good team. They're so well oiled in all they do, and you can tell that Hansi Flick knows exactly what he wants to do with that team. Their patterns are they're so automatic. You can tell sometimes PSG, even till today, it's still a lot of individuality, reliance on Mbappe's pace, especially when there's no Neymar. So I know that Mbappe counter-attack threat is going to be there for sure, especially as PSG are away in the first leg. But when I watched that second game against Barcelona, I know PSG were defending in lead, but they still have that imposter syndrome. I just noticed I still feel like they're still a bit afraid, and they don't dominate those games like a big club. And I feel Bayern is still going to dominate the game and dominate the ball. So as long as they can counter the Mbappe counter-attack, the Mbappe threat, I think they will just edge through just based on having that mindset. Before that, he was laughing we got PSG. I feel like they're going to go through. Sorry, my internet.
Yeah, no,
can you guys hear me now?
Yep, now we're back up. Yeah, we got it.
Where did I stop? Sorry.
No, we had everything. We actually went through. Yeah.
Okay. I feel they'll go through. Yeah, so I feel Bayern just.
Okay. City Dortmund. Mecca.
Sancho's availability is a key factor. So he has a bit of a niggle at the moment. So if Sancho doesn't play, I think it's going to be a straightforward one for City. If he plays, I think it'll be an interesting tie. I think it's going to be an open tie, and it'll be very interesting to see how Haaland does against the likes of Diaz and Stones and Laporte. But I think it's not going to be a drubbing or anything. But I think City will go through, just because Dortmund, they're very, very porous at the back. And they don't really care much about that at all. The fact that a team like Sevilla could score that many goals against them. So I'll go City if Pep doesn't overtinker like he does when he gets to the quarterfinal stage.
And decide to play Ferran Torres, Phil Foden up top.
Exactly. You have to go City.
The lap on the left. Chinedu, what do you think?
Yeah, I definitely back City as well, given first of all their run of form, and secondly, I mean, they have a full squad, so I definitely back them. I also think Dortmund, I've said this before, but I think they're too inexperienced. I'm surprised they're at this point, but I think this is where their run kind of ends. So I think, because at the end of the day, they're playing people that have never been in that position before. Jude Bellingham, I can't speak English, is starting for them in these big games, and so the weight of the occasion might get to them, and I feel like, yeah, like you said, Emeka, they're very porous at the back as well. City is going to capitalize on that. I think City will stand a better chance, actually. They go back to before they had their strikers back and they just play false nine. They run through them.
Yeah. Awesome. Chelsea Porto, which is probably the most difficult tie to call. What do we think, Emeka?
Yeah, definitely not going to disrespect Porto this time. The only reason I'm going to pick Chelsea is just because they don't concede. A team like Juve, even though they have better players and a better team, but they're at the moment they're a very disorganized and dysfunctional team. But what Chelsea will do is they're going to respect Porto, because their Chelsea too are feeling a bit lucky to be there in terms of like
Chelsea in the semi-finals, bro.
Yeah, exactly. You know. So
it's happening again.
Again. So it looks like I think Chelsea are going to respect Porto, and they're not going to give Porto anything. And with Sergio Oliveira, I think he's suspended first leg as well. So I think Chelsea, one of those ones, is going to be a Tuchel masterclass. Another maybe like 0-0, 1-0, like not many goals scored, but it's going to be like a 1-0, 1-0 kind of two legs. So I think Chelsea are going to go through.
Chinedu?
Yeah, I echo that. I'll be very surprised if Chelsea gets more than 2 goals in the first leg, and then second leg, we'll probably just see it out.
Just lock off.
And like you said, they're in terms of like system, their system is set up now not to concede goals. So they press very well, and they have a bit of attacking.
It's starting to click.
Force, but
it's starting to have. He's getting the best out of Havertz now. Ziyech looks really good.
Bernard looks more confident, and yeah, those things are coming together. But at the end of the day, I don't see them scoring more than 2 goals in the first leg. But I think Chelsea edges is definitely quality of players. If Sergio Oliveira is out as well, then that kind of changes, the dynamic for Porto going forward. So
if Chelsea win and they face, and let's say Dortmund beat City, I say anyone from those. What side are they on? Yeah, so if Chelsea win, I can easily see them in the final, because the Madrid, Liverpool, they can beat either of those teams.
If that happens, I have a few group chats I have to leave.
It's happening again.
Liverpool or City, anyway.
Chelsea come from nowhere and have 2 Champions League titles. We won't have that. We can't have that. What did you say? Did you have anything to add to finish?
No. I think they definitely edge this one. Quality of players and things are going well for them now. So.
And finally, the battle of the heavyweights, 13-time champions and 6-time champions, Liverpool, Real Madrid. Where do we see that going, Chinedu?
Yeah, really quick before that, I actually just remember that Tuchel was just in the last final, so he has experience a lot.
Yeah.
These kind of things, navigating this. But Real Madrid, Liverpool, I've already said this. I'm partially a Madrid fan, and so I've been saying the football heritage thing, and it's been working, and they're still there. And so we go again. Real Madrid is going to be Liverpool. You heard it here first.
And Emeka, I feel like you disagree.
Yeah, no, this one is another one I've been going back and forth with. Yeah.
Yeah.
Liverpool are away in the first leg, and I mean, there's not going to be any Anfield factor, but I think, honestly, I'm struggling. This is super 50-50 to me because they're both struggling. But I think in Madrid are probably in a bit more of a cohesive moment and as a team right now. So I'm going to go Liverpool.
After saying all that,
I'm going to go
I think
Liverpool.
if both teams turn up, Liverpool easily beats
Based
Madrid.
on goal scoring potential, I'm going to go Liverpool.
Exactly.
Because I don't think I know they're struggling a bit defensively, and Benzema is on a mad one at the moment. But I think like if they have more goal scoring potential and with away goals, that's all you need. If Liverpool get 1 or 2 in the first leg, done.
That's true. That centre back pairing has enough to deal with Benzema.
I'll tell you why I back Madrid. Not only have they been in this position multiple times and they've somehow gotten the results, Zidane and the team, the people on the team, like Modric, Kroos, Casemiro. Another reason I back them is because I don't feel like Liverpool have sorted out their defense at all.
Yeah.
Like not even close to. So it's one of those things that all it takes is Benzema running behind twice, getting two, and he's going to finishing the ball twice, and they lock up. I don't expect it to be like an outright, bossing, but at the end of the day, I feel like they have what it takes and they're cohesive enough. Modric is playing well again, Kroos is playing well again, and Casemiro, so they're probably going to boss time midfield of Thiago, Wijnaldum, and whoever else is there.
Fair point. I think you lucky convinced me. Fair point, to be honest, because I was going to stick with my pick, but I think Madrid are going to go there with full confidence, like I said, and they have a team. They still have that core of guys that did the back-to-back. So they're going to go with full confidence. And that midfield, they're going to bust the games. But I'm just going to stick with my pick just because of Salah and Mane, thinking that they're going to do something crazy. And Madrid's attacking as well. To be very honest, it's not like Madrid get a lot of goals anyway. So it's going to be really close. And I hope Chinedu is right because I want Liverpool out. But I'm going to bank on Salah and Mane doing the job.
Doing the business. All right, then. We'll be back on Sunday as usual, recording the Ball Agenda Reveal show. So, once again, whether you're analyzing the game, giving your opinions on social, which a lot of you are doing lately, just remember to ask yourself this one question. Remember, what should people ask themselves?
Do I know ball?
Really ask yourself. Good night.